Hello everyone and welcome to another track guide video, and today we got Spa Francorchamps in Group 2, and this time it's the GTR, and I believe this is one of the best cars here, and you can probably try the Lexus or maybe the NX6, but I think this car is pretty good for the race and it might be the one for the qualifying. So without further ado, let's get going. Starting the lap, and I usually try to get kind of a wider line out of the last corner just to get a bit more speed onto the straight. And here, this is the point where I usually brake, so it's kind of in between the 100 and the 50, turning in, downshifting into first and quickly upshifting into second gear. So this is very important if you want to get the speed onto the straight now. I mean, if you don't do this, if you just stay in first, upshift later in that second gear, you will probably not get the best acceleration out of this corner, and eventually this is all gonna be a little bit slower than what it's supposed to be. So just be careful that you always match my inputs. So it's always about matching my inputs and matching my gear shifts. But here, when you pass the beginning of the curb, or a little bit before, I would say the 50-meter sign, this is where you brake, downshifting into second, and this is where I get the most rotation. I like to climb the curb, upshift into third gear, which will give me the traction, and over this curb once again. I did kind of lost a bit of time as I was not really optimizing my lines, but it's very important to use the curbs. Okay, here, just before the beginning of the curb, you're downshifting, but it's actually going into the turn a little bit later. And you might see that I'm using first just for rotation, and it's all about that second gear, which will give you the traction that you need. So it's, once again, even here, I like to kind of focus on that point, even though it's very difficult to get it, but just make sure that the car isn't sliding too much. So it's much more important that the car is stable rather than it's quick through the turn. Then it's quick and sliding, then you're pretty much going to lose a lot of time. Just, it needs to be stable. Right about at this point, my foot is all the time at the throttle, so if you completely let go, I believe the car will start to wobble a little bit, and I think with some of that rotation, actually the excess of rotation, you will lose a bit of time, and especially here. So this is pretty much the same stuff. 50-meter sign, beginning of the curb, downshifting into second gear. I think you can downshift the second. You probably might even want to stay in third. I don't think it's going to make much of an effect. Okay, climbing onto the curb, flat out, and really utilize the whole track. And pretty much same thing is going to happen here. Beginning of the curb or a little bit before, braking, and then second gear, third on the way out. So this is the crucial point. You need to get onto the curb and put the power down. Otherwise, you will just not get that speed out of the corner. I mean, it's going to be pretty much impossible to get a decent amount of speed. Okay, this one is pretty much flat out. I don't think you even have to worry about even missing it here. But okay, this is, I believe, the most important corner in pretty much the whole track. So just before the 100, I would say 125, get onto those curbs. Like, really, as you can see, how much am I using those curbs? And even I kind of missed the second part of this, the second part of the bus stop, but it's very important to utilize the whole track. Stay whatever you can, stay on the curbs and use them for rotation. Use that first gear, use that second gear, and it's very important that you match my upshifts and match my shifting points. So this is, I believe, the most important thing with this car, because it will give you much more traction. You won't have to worry about spinning, and it's pretty much on the soft tires, so I think it's gonna be all good if you put the power down. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you can smash the like button, or if you got some questions, you can always ask me down in the comments. But once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.
Okay.